Hello everyone and welcome to a quick tutorial regarding video. A couple housekeeping things before we head into this. I am going to do a couple of those SigFig exercises next week. Several people have had a little bit of trouble downloading and making sure that's working. So I want to make sure everyone has that. With that said, I read over and pretty much finished up the Belly critiques, or the critique of the movie Belly. Several of you mentioned the sort of basically admiring the video that was sort of inserted into that as sort of textural details. I'm thinking of something like I believe it was the waves sort of crashing down on the shore. And I want to encourage you guys to sort of explore that. It's not a requirement, but explore something like that for what you're going to get sick of me hearing me say, which is textural details. I do not want you to go out, take a bunch of video, load it up into Flash, and call it your Flash project, your Flash animation project, because that wouldn't be true. That would simply be a video that's been converted. I'm going to show you an instance here where I'm going to take some video of some clouds passing and add it to this old scene, this movie clip that we did from from several weeks ago or months ago, to add some details to it. I'm going to sort of go over the technical side of things in relation to what we need to do for converting this video. Now, over here, I have some downloads. First and foremost is a clouds video, and that's quite big, obviously. This is a MP4, and it's simply something I downloaded. You can type in video samples, you can take video, whatever. So this is just a detail of clouds moving across the sky. Okay. What I have also done is, and I'm going to show you this. If you happen to have what's called Adobe Media Converter, that's a separate piece of software that's going to allow you to take really all sorts of video files and convert them. Flash likes what's called FLV files. Those are Flash video files. And with Adobe Media Encoder, you can encode or convert those files to FLV files. Now, with that said, you don't necessarily need this. I quickly Googled, and I've never used this because I actually use Adobe Media Encoder on my computer. But if you don't have something, there's all these online converters. So what I did, and I'm just sort of recreating this, I chose the MP4, uploaded it, told it what size I wanted it, 800 by 600, that's it. I didn't give it a bit rate, which will sort of keep everything the same. And I converted the file. Okay, it'll sort of go through a few screens and give you an option to download it, to put it to a Google Drive, or who knows what. I just simply downloaded it, so I ended up with this the same sort of file name, Clouds Time Lapse. This was sort of from YouTube, as an FLV file, and over here is a Flash video. You'll see that sort of making it smaller is make the file size smaller. So I have a 2 megabyte file here, which is not bad. It's going to play pretty well, and it's going to be easy to sort of deal with once we get into Flash. Okay, so that's that. I'll post this converter here if you want to sort of play with some video potentials. Now, let's take a look at this. What I've done is I've simply opened up this movie clip. This is what I want you to do for this exercise. Use this movie clip and insert basically the clouds into both of your scenes. So if you remember, this is an older file. We had the scenes of the water and the scene of just the sort of grass and sky. Now, I've inserted a layer called clouds, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the clouds video. So I'm going to go actually just sort of find it. Oops. And it is something I've downloaded. So you'll see, I'll grab it from here. I'm going to quickly just grab it and drop it, and we're going to get this import video window. Now, you could also, sorry, I'm closing these things. You could also go to File, Import, and we can't see it right now, but Import Video. You're going to get the same thing. Now, what it's saying here is, it's saying, where is your video? Okay, and we're going to say on the computer. and we want to embed the FLV in the SWIF and play on the timeline. We want this thing in the movie. If you were making something, or if you had a video that was much larger, you might contemplate this load external video. The problem with that is if that video is on a disk or on your computer and you're trying to export this thing, you're sort of depending on the video living in the same spot as the animation. I'm going to embed this because, as I said, it's only 2 megabytes, and that's not too bad. Okay, so I'm going to embed the FLV, and we have these defaults. The symbol type, it's going to be an embedded video, so we're getting a different symbol. Place instance on the stage. We won't do that just yet. We'll sort of do this manually. So I'm going to hit next. This is just basically telling us it's going to be imported into the library as a symbol. Great. All right, we have our video over here. We haven't done anything with it. I've made a layer called clouds, and that layer, let's see here, extends out as long as the first scene here, which is 150 frames. Now what we're going to see here is sort of a discrepancy between the length of this movie and the length of that timeline. That's okay. If it was something important that we needed to see finish all the way through, we might need those things to be, we might sync the sort of length of time on our timeline to the actual movie. This isn't going to be the case here. I'm going to click on the first keyframe of the clouds layer. I put the clouds layer behind everything, okay? And I'm going to click and drag, and I get this warning. The video requires 671 frames to display its entire length. That's just the length of that clip. The selected timeline span is not long enough. Do you want the required number of frames automatically inserted? I'm going to say no. And the reason I'm saying no is I don't need to see all of these clouds. I only want to see them as long as this scene is up. So I'm going to hit no, and I get this video here, okay? Now I'm going to size it. That's what's sort of great about it. We can size it, okay? And I sized it using the just the scaling tool. So if we went to the scaling tool here, or free transform tool, remember we don't want to do that. Okay, we want to sort of scale proportionally. So I'm making it a little bit bigger than the stage. Okay, I am going to now test this movie. Okay, so there we get some nice cool video. And again, this is a textural element. Okay, the next scene we're going to pop over here. We don't have it. What I want you to do, and I'll do it real quick just to sort of practice this, is I'm going to come over to the second scene. I'm going to add this layer. I'm going to note that it extends out. That's 160 frames. It's on the bottom layer, so it's going to sort of let everything else sit on top of it. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to get this warning again. I'm going to say no. I'm going to size this. I wouldn't say it needs to match up to the other scene because we're literally kind of cutting from one scene to another. So I've put that in there. I'm going to now test this movie. So there we get that. And we get that. You can see the video is kind of pixelated. That happened in the sort of compression. But again, you're not using this, you know, and I'm just sort of thinking off the top of my head in terms of examples, you know, water running in the background, a stream, you know, leaves sort of blowing. Use that converter and sort of find, I think it's easy to find sort of stock video of these sort of simple things. Take video. I'm sure you can take it with your iPhone and convert it via that converter, and use sort of, again, do not use it as main plot lines or very prominent elements in terms of the story, but rather a background, something that sets the scene, something that helps things sort of become fuller, and I keep using this phrase, more robust. Okay, so a super easy thing we can use to enhance the sort of visual nature of our movies. What I want you to do, there is no step-by-step on this. I think we're advanced enough we can sort of understand how to do this. You're adding 2 layers. Each of these layers has the clouds time lapse on it and make sure it's sort of in the background. You're basically giving me this movie clip file again to sort of show me you can import and size that and export a movie appropriately. Remember, your proposals for the final project are due tonight. Um, like I said, next week we'll definitely do the SynFig exercises, and I apologize for pushing those off, but I want everyone to have that software, and a few of you do not. But we will do that just as an introduction to another piece of software. We're not going to do a ton with it, but I want you to have the sort of option to think about animating post this class with something that's fairly similar, a different piece of software, but fairly similar, and most importantly, free. Yes, so proposals for final project. You have 2 critiques. You're critiquing project 4s that were posted earlier last week. And the Thursday, I believe, video. We are making the big final push into the last few weeks of class here. Going to be doing, as I said, this exercise and a few other exercises with that SynFig, but really sort of concentrating on final projects. Email me with any concerns, questions. Otherwise, I will look for this exercise from you in the Dropbox before next week.